Okay, welcome to the stream. How are you doing, everybody? Davey, Yasank, I'm sorry to mispronounce your name, but welcome to the stream. How are you guys all doing? We do have a few tracks to start out with for today, so today is going to be a feedback stream. There he is, yes, there I am. I'm having a few connection dropouts. I hope that it's not too severe today. We are still on the highest possible latency, just to be safe. There's something in here as well. That's not important. We have a few tracks already in here. We already have 4 tracks. This one was submitted quite a while ago, but I'm going to listen to it anyway. As you can see, this was from last year. But we haven't done a feedback stream since before then, so we haven't actually listened to this one. And if he asks where it is, it will be at the beginning of the stream. But the pill made it better. That's unfortunate to hear. Welcome Charlie, Dema, Sai, how are you doing? Enroll, how are you doing? Welcome. Korerok, welcome as well. A lot of new names today, very nice. Where can I send? Exclamation point feedback, the bot should be awake, I think. Let's see. If I do this, will we get an answer? There we are. You can follow that Discord link and then you will be placed in the Discord. You will be probably placed in here where you can add some of my music to your playlist. Then you scroll down while you're here, check out my presets and samples because they're on sale. That's in the stream title as well. But you can see right here are all of the details for that. You guys can see that, right? Yes. And then you scroll down even further to get to feedback on stream. And then right here you can post. Best track is Extraterrestrial Explorers. That was a fun collaboration, yeah. I'll put it on later in the break. I think I do have it somewhere in here. But let's get into the tracks that we have for today. So we're starting out with Venus Habiba. Sorry for the mispronunciation, by Subspace Jet Witch. Let me just quickly pop out the analyzers as usual. And there we are. Everything is very, very soft still. I'd like to hear how it goes on in the rest of the track. If you keep that theme, or if you change it up. I do feel like there's a lot of elements fighting in the high frequency. You have that one melody sitting in there, and then there's this sweeping kind of pattern there as well, and all of the drums, a lot of high-end noise. A lot of busy stuff going on here. It's a lot better already here, but the plugs can come out a little bit more. I currently live in Italy, and I was born in the Netherlands, lived there until I was 16, and then I moved to Italy. Hello Virtual Instinct, hello Malogify, welcome, welcome. One of the things I feel like this track is missing is a little bit of play with the stereo field. It all feels very clogged up in the middle. There we had a moment where the kick and bass felt really overpowered, maybe a little bit too much. those very big impacts and splashes. Also, the bass line doesn't really convince me. It doesn't really feel punchy. Should I enable the download on SoundCloud? That's not necessary. I can just play it in SoundCloud itself. Acid Monkey, welcome. I do like the storytelling throughout all of the melodies and the way that the theme is constantly building up. That's very well done. Like, this is a real high point here, where you have the big splash out with all of the atmosphere still in there. Key change. Yeah, there's a lot of cool writing stuff going on in here. The main issue that I have with this track is there's not a lot of attention to detail in the mixing, and it's like all of the musical ideas are there, but they're not really well defined in the mix. Like, it's not really clear what you're supposed to listen to. It's just this wall of everything happening, because a lot of it is mono, so you could use the stereo field to kind of widen some of the sounds and put them a little bit more in the background. Easy man, dankjewel. Graag gedaan. This feels very strange, this key change. I do like the idea. Now that the key change happened, I'm used to it again. But in that moment it felt a little bit off. Can I send my track through SoundCloud? Yes, yes. Mix feels a bit mushy, indeed. That's the kind of word that I'm looking for. It's all kind of clogged up all together. Although this part I like. Maybe this plug is a little bit too wide now, because you really want it to grab your attention, so you put it a little bit more mono. And then also when the drop hits and you have all of the big pads coming in, they can become stereo. You get this extra stereo boosting effect in the drop. Here there's too much going on, I would say. Did the bot not work this time for the feedback? There's the link. And you just go in here and you post your link in here. This is below, by the way. You come in here, you scroll down, and then go here. I think in this genre, it's like sidechaining is a little bit more important. So the bass line is sidechained, but I feel like a lot of the rest of the elements are sidechained, but maybe not enough, or maybe aren't sidechained at all. And overall in this part I feel like there's too much going on here. Like there's two melodies playing, I think. This is a fairly long track, it's 9 minutes, actually. Normally for trance, I think the norm is like 6 minutes. But it's nice to write a nice, big, euphoric kind of track. I'm actually also working on something like that in 2 different ways, actually. Yeah, the bass line feels weak, in my opinion. I would try to redo it. The kick can use a little bit of attention as well. I feel like it's not punchy enough. Like it doesn't go down low enough. But overall, I would say very well done with the track. I do like it. There's a few problems, as I said, with the mix and maybe 1 or 2 things that I would change in the sound design of the kick and bass. But other than that, I really liked it. There were a few other things. The parts where it was a little bit overwhelming with too many things. But I think you can fix that even with mixing a little bit. Just make sure that some of the sounds become more background sound and that you have some main sounds that you really want the listener to catch up on. And you just put that in the foreground a little bit more. It says unable to accept invite. That's very strange. Ninx, how are you doing? Welcome. I don't know why it would say that. If you don't have a Discord account, maybe that will be the reason why you cannot get into it. But then it would ask you to make an account, I think. Anyway, once you do get in, you'll get here on the landing page. This is where you can add some of my music to your playlist if you want to. And then lower, there's another interesting thing. I'm currently running a sale on my Gumroad. Holiday Sale 23. This should be the one. Yes, this is the one that is there. Because I did one earlier as well, somewhere. Anyway, this is the holiday sale. As you can see, there's a promo code that you need to enter. There's a few different packs that you can try out. These are all $2 packs. But there's a whole bunch of other packs. Even my masterclass is on discount. Every product on my Gumroad is on discount. So if you ever wanted to purchase something from me, now is the time to do so. I hope you can find a way to get into the server, by the way. DJL, let me know if you continue to have issues. Where were we? Okay, so you sent the same track twice. I just need to keep track of that. We already played that one. I think that was an updated version, but... Extraterrestrial Explorer, please. I'll play that during the break. We'll do like 1.5 hours, and then I'll go on a little break, refresh my ears a little bit, and in that time I'll play the track, okay? Next up we have JP Cooper, Sound of Shadows. A little bit of a housey track here. Matoma. I don't know which is the artist name. Maybe it's 2 people. Nice. Here also with the stereo field, you can take those plugs and make them really wide, so the bass line itself stands out a little bit more. I like this. I think it has this, the only issue that I hear up until now is that, as I said, the stereo issue. It feels all very mono, this track. And with the stereo field, putting some other things in the stereo field, you make some more space for the vocal. I don't think I can sell you the project. Maybe I can get around with MindB and see if I can export the stems for you, like all individual files, like I did for my masterclass project, or my remix packs, if you're familiar with those. Basically every sound will get its own file then. Here the mix is vocal stereo and all of the synths and everything else very mono. I would flip that the other way around because the vocals are the most important element here. Even more, I would boost the vocals a little bit more and de-S them a little bit. Because these S's are a little bit harsh. You are galactic. Here I'm playing Matoma JP Cooper Sound of Shadows. This one. If I get the copyright claim, by the way, I'm sending it straight to you. I do like the track. I do like the composition. I think it needs mix work. As I said, the stereo balance is all wrong in my opinion. I like the bass line dry as well without that plug on top. Sounds fresh and deep. I like it. Sounds very nice. Very well done. Next up we have Virtual Instinct with Dark Abyss, 153 BPM master. Let's hear it. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly because we have a few tracks in the queue and I don't want to keep people waiting too long. Very long, drawn-out intro here. I should be back now. This was a very big disconnect here. Unfortunately, I think we were somewhere in the drop when it disconnected. I think, but if we were further back, then let me know. I can play it from like the intro here. Intro was so long that the stream crashed. I'll skip towards the end of the intro then. It's not too long, it's like 50 seconds. It just feels drawn out because there's not a lot of change throughout it. I would suggest maybe changing it up a bit more. I hope you caught what I said about the kick and the bass, as well as the sequence, but I'll repeat it. For the kick and the bass, the kick feels very boxy and I would redesign it. And the bass line is too sub-heavy and maybe a little bit too loud as well. It is nice and clean, so that's nice to see. But a little bit more processing and a little bit more spacing out of the harmonics would be nice. A little bit more phase shift on the bass line. And the kick just feels very, very boxy. It almost feels like a techno kick. I think maybe even both have a little bit too much sub. You can hear in this part the sequence doesn't make sense with the rhythm of the kick and the bass, like it's at a different BPM and it goes out of sync. So you want to definitely fix that, because you want all of your elements to be in sync so that you have that pattern that you can actually dance to. Hello Lucas, hello Late Night Fortune Cookie. Aspen, welcome. Two new faces here. Oleg, how are you doing? I like the sound design in this part. Kick sounds very saturated as well. You can hear the boxy, distorted sound that it has. You don't want that. You want to go for a clean kick, in my opinion. Honestly, in parts like these, I feel like there's a little bit too much going on in your track. Like you're constantly trying to have us listen to 3 different elements at once. And I would turn that down to 2, maybe 1 at some times. Because sometimes simplicity, especially in parts like these, is just better sounding. You can send the track by joining a Discord server, where you'll join probably right over here. You can add some of my music to your playlist. You can scroll down, make use of my current sale going on my Gumroad page, and then you just can scroll down to feedback on stream and post right here. Right here in the queue. And we'll go down to the queue just like this. We'll just scroll down all the way. Patrons do get priority if they want to. Here again I can hear a sequence like that talking sequence that feels out of sync. Maybe you're using 32 notes and then it's just using one of them and then the sequence gets out of sync or something like that. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but there's not a lot of progression through it. Like, it's just this wall of noise without any build up to it. It's cool, it sounds very nice, and it just suddenly goes in there again without warning. It feels very strange, like it was just kind of chopped out of one track, looped over a bunch of times, and then it just stopped and got back into the track that you were actually playing before. A little bit more attention to detail is needed in this track. But your sound design is definitely very good. I like it. Where can you send your product or your track? You can join my Discord server, !feedback in the chat, we'll get you there. And then you just scroll down here. I'm not going to do the bit every time where I market my products and my music. But you scroll down right here. And then you can just put it in the queue and we'll listen to it when we get to it. Right now we are on this track, so after that we'll go to this track over here. This one definitely needs some work in my opinion. Make build-ups. I do agree with Aspen, yes. Sorry, that's the autoplay feature from SoundCloud. We don't like that. I do agree with Aspen on that track. There's a few problems and you're basically pointing them out altogether. Next up is Oren and someone Williams, this guy Williams, with ketamine. Mechanite. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Very loud intro here. Very loud track. I'm gonna turn it down on my side. Welcome, Agent X. Very, very clean. Here with the snare, I don't really like that. But the rest is sounding very loud and very clean. It's tough to get this clean of a loudness. I do quickly want to check the kick transient. Yeah, you do have some issues with the kick transient. Basically, this part is bleeding into your kick transient. So if you want your transient to come out with even more punch, then you can basically just fade it out over here. And then you'll have the kick transient there. You basically have to resample your kick and bass and then don't mess up the phase alignment again. It's a very evolved form of gabber, yes. A lot of fake build-ups. I don't like the fake build-ups, but I get that they're part of this genre. Another one. Here it's a bit cleaner. You can get away with not having this last oscillation, but this looks fine to me. Sounds very nice as well. You can hear what kind of strong transient you get from the resampling, even with other stuff on top. On the phone it's distorted. It's very careful distortion. I think this might be done with the clip to zero method. Because it's like all loud. You know what I mean? But very controlled. It's actually very well done. I really like the mix and master of this. It is supposed to be this loud. Can I get the link to Discord? This should give you the link, if the bot wakes up. It is also higher up in the chat. There's a response to the feedback thing. Sometimes it takes a while too. Otherwise there's this link. This will also take you to my Discord. There's not a lot to say about this track. I really like it. Very well done. It's all very controlled. I like all of the technical skill needed to make this kind of thing. Is it a track that I would regularly listen to? Probably not. But it's a very cool production. And I love where this is going. Very crunchy indeed, yes. Sorry Rock. Next up with progressive psytrance. It's just progressive psytrance. Nothing more, nothing less. Not my genre, but impressed on how you managed to compress all the things going on. Well done. Yeah, very clear, very well done mix here. This one is fairly quiet. I don't think I can turn it up for you guys. It's playing at its maximum inside of SoundCloud. It's hard to judge what is going on because I'm used to it being a lot louder. The effects are very overwhelming on the vocal. It's hard to tell what it's saying. And when you have a vocal like this, I like to hear what it's saying. Strange bassline. I would expect there to be a filter envelope on top of it. I like that. That's fun. Little pitch shift there. I feel like there's an atmosphere sitting in here somewhere that's like really slow while the rest of the track is trying to be a little bit more uplifting, a little bit more upbeat. I also feel like the BPM is a little bit slow. This is my first try in this genre. I would say, don't take this the wrong way, but I can tell. At least not like it's the first, but it's you haven't made psytrance for a long time, because there's some, I would just say like things that you don't pick up on unless you listen to the genre for a while or you produce it for a while. Kind of the way that we write things. Thanks for the feedback, guys. Oren, you're welcome. Really loved your track. It was really good. Like the way that this melody is written is almost never done in psytrance. And if you do it, you will probably hear it in a break somewhere. I don't think that this track is in 160. Maybe your track was in 160, but not this one. Can you turn it up a bit? I can't. Otherwise I would have. Unless I do this. Does this turn it up for you guys? It does turn up the analyzer. Okay, now I know. I have control of the volume for you guys as well. Which analyzers am I using? This is Signalizer. Completely free. Open source, I think. Analyzer tool. And it just has these 4 components. But it's very good at what it does. A little bit unstable, sometimes has some issues, some bugs. Everything does scream beginner track at me, but if you continue making sidetracks, then just get a bunch of reference tracks and see if you can get the sound to sound more similar. Because I can hear like minute differences in all of the sounds, the way that it's just composed, the way that it's sound designed, the way that the kick and bass is created here. Signalizer, yes. Do I not have a command for that? I should have a command for that, actually. There's 2 melodies playing through each other here. It's hard to tell what you want me to listen to in this. Do you know what I mean? There's like 3 elements playing. There's that plucky sound playing, that bandpass pluck thing playing. There's the vocals that are suddenly gated playing. And then there's the main melody thing playing. And they're all trying to grab my attention in the mix. There's no clear definition of, okay, which element is the main element. One of the things I think that this track is being held back by is the fact that the kick and bass is very aggressive and all of the other elements are like slightly soft. So it feels like there's a little bit of mismatch between the aggressiveness of the kick and the bass and the other elements. Like the rest of the track is very melodic and stuff like that. And these vocals are just not understandable. So I would make it so that you can at least understand what they're saying, both in the way that you place them as well as the effects that are on them. With the way that the way that you place them, I mean like which other elements do you put around it so that they don't get in the way of the vocal, mix-wise. Overall, I would say that it needs a lot of work, this track. This one we already listened to. It's a newer version that Subspace, which Jetwitch sent. but we're going to skip it because it was the same track that we played here. Obviously, he submitted it like 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago. We didn't do a feedback stream for a long time, so this is an updated version. The next up is Sonic Flux Dub Techno. Let's see. Aspen really hitting with some bangers today. I like that explanation as well. Ah, this is now too loud, wait. Like this, sorry. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the kick here. Feels like the kick has like a slight wobble to it. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Something like that. I like the soundscape on top though. Very stereo all of a sudden. I think for a track that is supposed to be playing in a club, because this is still like a dance track, it's maybe a little bit too stereo there on the break. Also because it's very quiet there. The kick already starts to fit in a little bit more. You don't quite notice the issue as much. But I still think it needs some adjustments so it doesn't have that like wobble to it, that distorted wobble. Not sure if the mix and mastering is good enough. I do like the mix. I think it's a little bit sub-heavy, even though this is kind of the dark kind of style that you're going for. You could probably scoop like 3 dB of the sub of this track, and it would still be okay. Just gives you a little bit more space in the rest of the mix, which is always helpful. Here again there's elements that sound very, very stereo, so those are going to cancel out most likely in the mono mix if this is ever played on a club system. Little bit of a muffled impact there at the start of the drop. I do have to say I love the progression of this track. I don't normally point out positive things during the playthrough, but this track is really well written. Put some tech house kick. Yeah, just get like a nice tech house sample pack. Even stuff from like Vandalism, the 15-year-old stuff still works in that regard. Maybe a little bit of processing is needed to adapt it to the track and to modernize it a bit. Yeah, it is a very boxy kick. I think we mentioned that before. I just want to say I usually don't point out a lot of positive things because when the track is playing I want you guys to hear as much as possible. So I try to minimize the amount of positive things I say because it doesn't really help saying like, oh, I like this or oh, I like that. I do sometimes point out things because it's nice to do. But I try to minimize it for your guys' listening capabilities. Very nice track overall. Luister naar Cursed Vanalux van Enroll de Ville op Soundcloud. Alright, let's do that. Next up, Cursed Phalanx. That's literally what's written there. I'm not making it up. This is going to be some high BPM madness, I think. Very dark kick and bass. Definitely needs cleaning. Resampling the bass line, obviously. Maybe the kick is a little bit too long as well. I do love your sound design. I don't like your use of triplets in that sequence there. One synth is this. This is just a sampler, like a Casio sampler. I wanted to use it as a MIDI controller, but it's not working at the moment. I need to fix some things for it to work. This synth is too loud. It overpowers the kick and bass too much. And even there you can hear there's some rhythms that don't really make sense with the 16 notes of the bass line. Which you cannot really hear, like there's not really a trance into this bass line, and that's because it isn't cleaned partially. And maybe it's also just too dark, like you didn't synthesize it with the click in mind. A little bit of click would be nice, even though this is like a dark side kind of thing. And to that same extent I would lower the sub bass a little bit, so that you have more space in your mix. One of the things that this track is missing is a little bit of definition between where the elements are playing. So we just had a fill, and the same synth kind of continues that has been playing in the last two sections. So I would change it up there, because now we're changing up the sound design. I would do it in that instant that we have the fill. A little bit of transition into this segment would be nice. I like this. I do like the sound design of this track, I just want to point that out. It just feels a little bit chaotic because it's not properly arranged in my opinion. Like the arrangement could be better. Not completely wrong, but you could do better in my opinion. I like that we keep the same melody in the bass as we had before in that section. Here again, I really like the synths, but you can see them, they are out of sync with the kick and bass. Do you see how this is starting to play here and the kick is starting to play here, like it's at the halfway point between those two notes? You want to make sure that they are aligned always. There's some timing issue in whatever DAW you're using. Some latency issue. A lot of synths have that in this section. Here the synchronization just goes completely off. Send on Discord? Yes, you send the tracks on Discord. Exclamation point feedback should get you the link to my Discord server where you land right here. You can add some of my music to your playlist so that you can listen to it during the day. And then you can go in here into samples and presets where you can see the discount that I'm currently running on all of my products on my Gumroad page. And then you can scroll down even further to feedback on stream where you can post your tracks and I will listen to them. We have a lot to do still. I just realized. Nope. This should work. This should... Already in your server, okay. For some reason the bot has decided to shut down though. Let me see if I can start it back up again. I hope the bot awakes now. As I said, the sound design is very, very good. I really like it. You just need to work on your arrangement and the mixing. Especially the kick and bass just needs to be cleaned up. Be resampled, especially that bass line. The bass line needs a little bit more click. The kick is a little bit too sub-heavy, in my opinion. The bot did wake up again. So that's nice. For some reason it disconnects with my dashboard as well. Nice. Very well done. I like it. Next up we have 2 tracks by Acid Monkey. Not finished yet, but close. This is Psychedelic Monkeys. Psychedelic Monkey? Just one monkey. Okay. Acid Monkey with Psychedelic Monkey. .mp3. The bot think it's Sunday, oh wait. It's always Sunday somewhere. That's not the quote, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. Which is also condensely when my stream starts. Like a little bit more space for the vocal here, even though it's like stretched out and all messed up. Kick and bass is nice and strong. Clean sound design. Clean kick and bass as well, you love to see that. Maybe the baseline filter can close a little bit stronger so that you get a little bit more of a click. Just like dip your envelope a little bit. I like this. I wish you were going to switch up the synth in the next section though. The main, like, 4-man synth. A nice big gritty FN synth in the next one. This combination of synths, I feel like it's a little bit weak. I would love to have a little bit more of a crispier kind of virus FM synths. You know what I mean? Ones that you can also get from the Tones pack. Which is currently on sale, by the way. Some more variation. Yeah, a little bit more just stuff happening. Not like the elements that are happening now aren't enough. They're enough, but there's not too much stuff happening to them. You know, like extra effects, maybe a flanger here or there, some glitchy sounds here or there. Maybe 1 or 2 one-shots. Finally got in. Nice, nice. Strange that you weren't in there before, because I've seen you around for a while now. Commenting on my videos as well. Right? Very good indeed, but missing a clear lead/theme. Yes. Although I do like this. Keep the filter open. Now it sounds weak. Add another modulation on top of it, maybe. It sounds very weak with the filter so low. But here you have to with the vocal. I do like your vocal mix there. So you record these sessions and post on Discord. What I do is I sit here, listen to people's tracks, criticize them, give some feedback, and then they stay up on the YouTube channel. And you submit through Discord, you submit your tracks. Exclamation point feedback will get you into my Discord server, where you'll land right here. Sorry, that's the ending of the track. You'll land right here, add my music to your playlist. I'll just continue playing after this. And then you can use my sales code for the holiday sales up until the 10th of January. And then you post your track right here into feedback. I'm sorry for the track pausing. I'll put that back. I'm so used to it playing on SoundCloud, where it just continues. I think we were here somewhere. If I missed a part, let me know.
deeply probe and then restart.
This is very well done, I like this. Here you could get away with not having a snare. Or what I like to do is sometimes LFO to the snare, so it's not as strong as it is in the other parts. Because when the rest of the drums come in, the snare needs a little bit of that extra power that you have now. But it doesn't need it there. Like here it competes with the offbeat hi-hat in terms of catching your attention in the high frequencies. Love it. Very, very strong. Very well done. You have another one submitted. We'll see this one maybe later, unless there's not too many people. Let me just quickly count the amount of people that are after you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've already heard Virtual Instinct, so we might skip them as well. Not like skip them, but put them like last in the queue. So if we have time over at the end, we have them. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 people in line. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm putting you kind of like in the last of the queue so that we are not listening to duplicate people until we have finished the rest of the tracks. Okay? That way it's fair for everyone. At least everyone gets one track that they can listen to and it goes a little bit faster. So Virtual Instinct and Acid Monkey, if we get back to you, we will get back to you at the end of the stream. This is very loud. This is, by the way, Absence of the Sun by Entropia. If it's too loud, I'll turn it down. Very elongated kick there. Very strange looking. I'm not a fan of this kick and bass at all. All of the atmospheres and the textures are too loud in this part as well. The kick and bass feels very strange. Like they're all very short, like too short. So loud. I'll turn it down a little bit for you guys as well. Hello Mary, hello Tesla, hello Dempa. Welcome. There's a lot of stuff going on in the atmosphere. There's a lot more than we can concentrate on. I would say that there's too much going on in the synths and the sound design. It also at times doesn't feel synced with what's going on in the track. Please look the waveform for the kick and bass. I did check the waveform. I think it's too short. You could have another oscillation here. The kick doesn't go low enough. It feels like you just cut this kick off too early. Like this should definitely be going into this bass line and then have this bass line be a little bit quieter so that you have to phase align them. I'm not a fan of the key change here either. Overall, this track feels very, very chaotic and I'm getting a little bit of a headache, to be honest. Sorry, I'm trying to get some candy, but they're not working with me. I have all the Christmas candy to finish. I don't think that this is an issue with the mix. I think that there are more fundamental issues with this track. Like the mix is off. Let's say it like that. Let's try to be not too insulting here. But there's like a fundamental issue with the way that this track is written in that there's just too much stuff going on. You're trying to do too much with the track. Here's my SoundCloud name, or should I use YouTube name? It doesn't matter whatsoever. Oh, it's the candy bag. Yes. If it was ducking the rest of the track, then it was the candy bag in my microphone. Like nothing is in sync, nothing is thought out. You're not like, oh, it makes sense that that element is there. Stuff just kind of happens. Like there's no announcement that the track just suddenly goes into this different key. I don't even know what's going on with the bass line here. It seems to be longer than it was before. Even though I like your sound design and I like this last part, there's still too much stuff going on. Like there's random atmospheres coming in and stuff like that. Like I have no idea what's going on with that vocal, but you want to have a vocal like that understandable in the mix, and it's just not possible with the amount of elements that are in here. It's kind of messy. It's very messy. There's something you spend your time on and realize that you're not good at. I guess it's a tough question, but I guess part of it is making videos. I like the process of making videos, but it takes me a very long time to do every step of it. Like I don't like editing, I don't like recording. Counter-Strike 2, yes. Otherwise I would have gone pro in Counter-Strike. But making videos, I've been making videos for a long time, even before Projector, and I've always found it hard to actually make them. Like I have the ideas and I have the tools necessary and the knowledge necessary, but to actually sit down and do the work, It's kind of strange that it's now my job. Anyway, back to the track. I think you're trying to do way too much. I think you have elements for 2 tracks in here, and you could definitely separate all of the elements out and just write 2 tracks from it with the amount of ideas and elements that you're putting into the track. Maybe even 3 tracks, to be honest. And then you can start to look into making better kick and bass, making better sound design, making the sound design actually fit to the track, making sure that every sound has its own purpose in the track, because it just feels like you just plopped everything in there and you're like, oh, the listener will figure it out. When that's not the case. When you're making music, you have to guide the listener throughout that music. And especially when you're mixing, you have to tell the listener, like, okay, I want you to concentrate on this, by just making that element pop out of the mix a little bit, right? And that's not happening in this track. And that's just a combination of the way that you started the production, did the whole production, and then went into the mixing stage, if you even did the mixing stage. Work in some question and answer concept. Yeah, stuff like that. So there's the basic idea of music and like the arrangement, having, you know, unique sections where you have one unique element, or you have a unique element morphing into a different unique element, kind of like a transitional part, and just working in sections and blocking things off and just saying, okay, after this fill, the new section should start, and there things should start, and from there on, they should just kind of play their whole thing. They do like 16 bars, you have another fill at the end there, and then you just go into the next section of 16 bars. So the drop and the fill together is 16 bars long. And you just do that. Sometimes you have a fill of 1 bar if you need to make a small transition. Sometimes it's 2 bars, sometimes it's even 4 bars if you need to make a very big transition. But one of the things that is very important in sidetrance is that it's always clear what you want the listener to kind of follow. Not just the kick and bass, but the main like lead element on top of that. So next up, we have ID by Dema, 152 BPM in F sharp, work in progress. There we are. Now I can turn it up again, right? Yes. In fact, it's a bit quiet even. My tasks are becoming more and more like the ones of a radio host. Normalizing all of the tracks. I guess they should have software for that. I like this. Sounds nice and fresh. My friend and me are about to finish the track. Please remind me on how to send to you. Exclamation point feedback. Sorry, it sounded like my door alarm there. Maybe it was one of the synths inside of the track. For next feedback stream, exclamation point feedback should get you into my Discord, where you can, first of all, here on the landing page, add my music to your playlist. Then you can scroll down, make use of my Gumroad Sale that is ending the 10th of January. With this code in here, all of the information is in this image here. And then you scroll down for the actual feedback on stream once you've done all of that, and you just post your track in here, just like Rebirth did right now. In those fills, I like to leave the bass line out so that you really have a space for whatever you're doing in the fill, which wasn't a lot in this case. But you could have like a little drum fill there, something to differentiate from the normal kick and bass going on, that tells the listener like, okay, something is changing, something is happening. There's a new section here. That one snare is very loud there. This one here. I do like the experimental clap pattern. I should do more of that kind of stuff. That was very nice. I like that transition. don't remember if I checked the cleanliness of the kick and bass, but it does, yes, it does look clean to me. No, there's some melody going on, but I think it's always clean looking at the wave from here. Here there's some unique sounds that I really like. The flute that we had there and that little squelch there. Some really standout sounds. Very cool. I like it. Very well done. Next up, we have Nynx with Tap Halu, who together made Sprazzle. Or together are Sprazzle and made the track Splash. It's a really hard naming scheme, okay? I don't know what this is. I think the track is called Splash. The group is called Sprazzle, which are together Nynx and Tap Halu, and the track is A sharp 148 BPM. I don't like this genre. You don't like psytrance? Then you're in the wrong spot, my friend. Let me get myself a drink. Very strange intro. Let's see where this goes. Very dark. It was a little bit too loud. I still had the mixer louder from the last track.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pool will be closed for 5 minutes.
Bassline could be a little bit cleaner, could have a little bit of an earlier fade. The kick could be a little bit more laid back, like a little bit more volume towards the end here, and maybe a little bit less here even. And then overall, the envelope of the bassline should close a little bit more. It almost feels like you left a little bit of resonance on the bassline filter. The rest of the mix is very, very good though, I must say. Like, I like the drums, I like the clarity of everything. As I say, that those vocals could be a little bit more clear. But all of the synth works is very well done, they have their own space. Auto Techno, welcome. Are there any cooking streams in the plans? Not. I don't have anything planned, no. I was just gonna say, how would I say this? What I have planned is maybe doing a video sometime soon. Missing some low end, I guess. Doesn't feel like it's missing too much to me. It's just very high in the low end because it's an A sharp, right? So it's not, if it were in D sharp, you would have the low end a lot lower. Therefore, it doesn't feel as deep, but the amount of low end in there to me feels good. Here at this point I was hoping for like a big change in the leads that are playing. It's starting to indeed become like a little bit boring, a little bit the same over and over. Sounds like there's dissonance. You mean like stuff being out of key? I don't hear it, but I don't have necessarily the best ear for this kind of stuff. That plug that we hear there, that tung tung, that feels a little bit loud. You're introducing that ARP every time, but I would love to hear a segment where it's just that ARP playing full power. And I think this would be the segment that we're in right now to do it. When you introduce it the second time, then you just send it full power in that synth. Hello Spectrum of Sound, welcome back. Sidetrends with little bass is possible? Yes. As you can hear, no, it's not that there's little bass. There's the same amount of bass, but it feels like there's less because it's high up in the key. It's an A sharp, this track. Again, the synths feel very similar to the last section, and it's starting to become boring. Like, this is the point where I say like, okay, I need something new. It will be low enough, yeah. I would say that that's a sharp 0, no? Like the analyzer indicates. But I know what you mean, because in FL Studio I think it's different, for example. Maybe even in other DAWs. Ambrosia, welcome. I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Hope you're doing the same.
Everyone out, I have a small bathroom break I have to do.
Nice little vocal in the end there. I like that. Okay. It's been 1.5 hours of streaming. I think I'll take a little break now. Play you some of my music. Earlier, somebody requested that I play the collaboration that I did with MindB. So I will oblige and play that. Let me just quickly set this back up. And then I'll be right back at the end of this track. And then we'll continue. Let's see. We do have a lot of stuff to listen to still. There's still more stuff being submitted. But it's nice. There's a lot of activity again and I like it. Dean Nazarov is the next one that we'll listen to. But for now, here's my collaboration that I released almost a year ago now with MindB. But yeah, this is it. And I'll see you guys after this.
Our galaxy is made up of some 400 billion stars and at least 100 billion planets. How many are like Earth?
Alternate universe located.
Why don't we see signs of alien civilizations?
Okay, so that's the track. Let me quickly remove it again so it doesn't mess up anything. And then we'll just get back into the feedback. Solid bass, thank you. I hope you guys like that one. Next up is D. Nazarov with We Are Dreaming demo. Let's see. Oh, this is a download. Wait, can I not just play it in Discord then? Yes. Okay, some uplifting trance, 140 BPM. Thanks for your streams and guides. You're welcome. I'm glad that you enjoy them. First thing I notice is a very high frequency on the kick here. You can probably low pass it at 10k, maybe even at like 9k, and it will still be fine. It doesn't have that very sharp snap to it that it has now. I think that riser is a little bit too loud. And here the chords as well, they are a little bit overpowering. Oh, did I do that vocal stretching at the start? I think that was Mine B who did that. I don't remember doing that myself. I like this part. There's a little bit more space for the main elements to sit in there. The bass line feels like it should have a mono sub bass though. And maybe even the first and second harmonic should be a little bit more mono. Nice progressive section here, I like it. Here there seems to be some very clicky sound in there, and I would also like this very bright synth to be gated a little bit more. Because now it just feels like a wall of noise. It just feels like it's doing could lower this a little bit to have more impact from the melodic part. It does feel like it's dragging on for a while now. This whole breakdown. I want to get back into the part where we can get to dance again. Overall, I would say that you're a little bit too bright in like 5k area here.
Are we dreaming?
Even here, it just feels like this big wall of noise, and the melody kind of gets lost inside of it. Not a lot of difference here between this and the last section. repetitive. I do agree, yes. It is very repetitive. Now the bass line sounds a lot more mono than it was before. Maybe there's like a strange layer on top of it somewhere. There are also the snares. You could probably filter those in over time so that you have a little bit more progression in there. And it just kind of randomly stops as well. Okay. Waldek, how are you doing? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Next up we have Fredo Berto with who is actually in the YouTube chat called Late Night Fortune Cookie. This track is still very unfinished, but would love some feedback. Let's see. Starting off dark here. Kick and bass just kind of randomly starts. I would love to have a little bit of an intro there, a little bit of maybe a sweep into it or something like that. Something that prepares us for the kick and bass. Also, you would probably want to clean them, but since this is still work in progress, I don't blame you for still not having them cleaned. As you can see, transient of the kick is being messed up. There's no bass transient here. I think for a synth like that, you're playing it a little bit too high in terms of the octave. You could turn it down probably 2 octaves and get a much nicer, darker sound out of it. Because now it feels very sharp and very high. This synth over here, I mean. I do like the tonality of the kick and bass. Sounds nice and bouncy. I feel like the snare could use a little bit of extra high frequency so that it has a little bit more sharpness to it. Sounds very muffled. Mix-wise, some of the synths are a little bit too high, like 1 or 2 dB. Something like this is too high. I would compress that so that you have... And this one is way too high, you need to turn that down in volume. But this one, if you compress that a little bit stronger, it will work in the mix. There was something strange happening at the beginning there with the kick and bass. Maybe it's the synths kind of overpowering it here. It saw some weird stuff happening in the waveform. That's way too loud there. I think one of the other big issues that I have is that there's not a lot of progression in this. We just build up to these synths kind of playing. And they've been playing ever since, and they do it in the same way. At some point in a new section, you just want a new synth kind of coming in and completely taking over. So you get that feeling of like, oh, something big happens. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like slowly morphing between sounds that all sound very, very similar or have been there from the start. So I would say that it's a little bit too repetitive. Also, the constant atmospheres, it's not necessary. You can use the atmospheres to sometimes have slower parts of the track, and then when you get to a high energy section where all of the hats are playing, everything is playing. Which in this case, I'm missing a little bit, that differentiator between energy levels, because it feels like the drums just kind of started playing as well and just have been playing ever since. So you need some fills, you need some better drum structure, and then you can build around that with the synths that you have, because your sound design is very good. You just need to learn to put it in the right space from an arrangement perspective. because it's just the same thing that we heard before, going over and over and over again with very small variation at this point. Gets very repetitive at some point. It feels like this track has been going on much longer than it has, and it's only been 6 minutes. So there need to be a lot more different synths in different sections. Also, the bassline melody doesn't change whatsoever. You could play around with that as well. Yeah, the bassline is becoming boring at this point as well, because it's just the same one bar melody, I think, playing over and over again. Overall though, very nice start. I do like it. I do like where this is going. I'll give you a nice follow so I can see where this track ends up being. But there's still a lot of work to do in my opinion. So I'd love to hear where this goes. Virtual Instinct, I'm going to skip you until the end of the stream. We talked about this before, I think. Giving everybody a chance. I would love some feedback on this one. Behind Bars, Drake, Joyboy edit, free download. I'm sorry, Joyboy, I don't know if I can play this. If this is an edit of a track that is from somebody else, I need their permission for the copyright. I think that's written in the rules as well here. Don't submit works to which you don't own the copyright. If you do have the copyright, let me know so that I can play it. For now, we'll just wait with this track and move on to this one here. If I don't get a message from him, then I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to risk it. But if he says, yeah, it's all clear, I do have the copyright, then we can just play it on the stream. Next up is Gaudi Effect by Pop T. Need a mixing, mastering, especially the kick bass. They are cheap, but I want to hear your opinion. My first sidetrans. Let's see. Everything is panned slightly to the right. I don't know what the idea behind that is, but I wouldn't do that. Nice introduction though, I like it. Should have read the requirements. I'm sorry to hear that, but it just means that I cannot play your track for obvious reasons. If you submit a different track, we can listen to a different track of yours. I would put a little bit more time between that switch there. I would put like maybe 16 bars, maybe even 32 bars. before you use a fill like that, which sounds really cool, to go into this section, which I also really like. Kick is a little bit boxy, a little bit too saturated. Kick and bass do need cleaning. As you can see, the transient is being pushed up here, and that's happening to the bass line as well. I know that vocal sample from somewhere. It's in an Astrax track as well, but it's probably from the Cashmere pack. I like your use of it though, like this. Very much in the background. Missing a little bit of high frequency energy at some points of the track, like right here. There should probably be some hats. The kick should maybe have a little bit more of a top end part to it. Here it's a lot better. This is where you want your high end to be. You can already have the hats come in the last section and just kind of slowly volume boost them, maybe like 6 dB over time. Strange to hear the kick filtered but not the bass line here. And it's also strange that this part has much more volume because it has much more bass than your actual important kick and bass. So I would turn the volume of this down maybe like 7-8 dB so that it's quieter than the main kick and bass. Because those are the more important parts. You don't often hear that like a trap beat in psytrance. It does fit really well actually with this track, with the melodic section of the track. I don't know how you would build this into a set. It's very experimental for a psytrance track. Maybe a little bit more progression on top of it would be nice. Indeed, for a first psytrance track, this is very, very well done. We've had people like that before, that just for their first track knock it out of the park. And I think this one is also the case, because the sound design is really cool, the atmosphere is really good. Going back into that progressive bassline style here. I like this. This also of course needs to be cleaned up and the kick and bass needs to be made better. I think the bassline can have a bit more processing and the kick should probably be replaced. You may consider my quality kicks pack or my drum pack for very nice kick drums. Now on discount on my Gumroad page. Link just popped up in the stream chat as well. You need to have the discount code. For that there's information on the Discord server under samples and presets. So if you go into samples and presets, oh sorry, so, that was playing in Discord again. If you go in samples and presets, Simon, here you will have the holiday code, the holiday sale code that you would need, ranging from these dates. So it's up until the 10th of January, 3 more days on all of my products, including the 2 packs that I just mentioned, which you can just find on my Gumroad page. Let me get back to the track. Somewhere here. I'm sorry, I just wanted to respond to your message, but I forget to realize that sometimes when I do that, it stops the playback because that's how Discord works. There's also my masterclass and a whole bunch of other products, presets for Serum. There's some good bassline presets in there as well if you struggle with making basslines. Some cool synths in there. I do like the stuff that you have on top here, but as I said, the kick and bass needs extra work. In this case, it makes more sense. I like that you have the hats there, to have the hats line up with the groove of the bass line. So even here, the open hat doesn't really make much sense because it's almost never playing on top of a bass note. Or like just half the time, I think. So you could have it only line up with when the bass line plays and just mute it when the bass line doesn't play. I think this is the point where you could use that fill that you had in the first drop, so that you can go into a rolling bassline, because I don't really see the point of having another long breakdown here since we just had one. This should be another long drop segment with the kick and bass nicely rolling. I think there's a little bit too much breakdown going on in this track here. As cool as I find this section, you could maybe use it somewhere just like this very quickly in a drop, but I would remove it because it slows down the track too much. You have sounds here playing on the offbeat when the offbeat is not being accentuated by the triplet bass line. This is also not real triplets. It's like triplets but with some swing to it. It sounds very strange. Very strange part, but not necessarily in a bad way. I don't know if I like it or not, that last part. It sounded a little bit off for me from the normal triplets that I know, but it could have been, and I'm just mishearing things right here. Next up, I'm going to go through this still pretty quickly because there's many people that want me to listen to it, and I want to get to those other two tracks that we currently skipped. From the other two people that submitted more than once. But first, we'll get to Tisla. Here's an update from the last feedback stream. Hope you like it. The track name is not decided yet. Tisla with Psytrance. Does it work? Hello? Google Drive? Let's try to refresh and see if it then plays. It's just still in this state here. There we are. I don't remember the last feedback stream, by the way. That was like a month ago. I don't remember this track at all. Maybe later, if there's a specific sound that was like really unique to your track. I do like this intro that you have going on here. Nice clean kick and bass. Very minimal. I was expecting it to stay in the offbeat bass for longer. Even here, you can still get away with having the offbeat bass. I like this sound design. I do think that I remember some parts of this track, having heard this before. Like that sound design there. Little bit of a strange transition going into it. Some of the main synths feel maybe a little bit too stereo, like the flanger thing that you have going on right here, or the phaser thing. And then the squelch that is sitting on top of it feels a little bit too loud. But I like that you're using different sections for different ideas. So a sound like that, I would make that more stereo, for example. One of the things you can do for that vocal to stand out more is use a different delay time, like double the delay length. Very, very distorted, this part. I think I would like a little bit of transgate effect on it, maybe even like half dry, half wet kind of thing. It feels like the whole thing is just noise in the top frequencies, and I would like to negate that effect a little bit.
I have spent the last 2 centuries locked in a box, staring into the all-consuming void, the dark shadows of once.
Perfect. You drift for 2 centuries?
Indeed.
I like this. This is well done. That one synth there is, as you can see, it's a little bit too loud in its resonance spot. You can turn it down like 2 dB to compensate that particular synth. But this was a good section to show as an example of how you don't have to make stuff too complex. And how when you line everything up with the rhythm that you're playing. Actually, this whole track is doing that. It turns out that everything has a lot more clarity if you do that. And this is a good example of that. Although here, for example, you're missing a little bit because it's all very distorted. So in this case, I would maybe emphasize the trance gatiness of it a little bit more. You know, have it a little bit more choppy. But I like the synth combination here. Very well done. Like that you're doing something new with the synth that we heard before. That synth we've heard throughout the whole track. That's Vauli synth, I think. This one that's playing now. I would make that synth different here in this part, so that it's really unique, right? This one here, I would remove that from this section and the last section and replace it with a unique synth like you have done with the squelches here. Suddenly it becomes very loud there. I don't know if I like that. And to be honest, this part sounded like the outro. So it is very low energy and very high energy. I don't know if I like that. But overall, nice track. I do like it. Maybe with that last part being so high energy, you're going to have some trouble having it played by DJs because it's not really a nice section to mix out of. So there's a little bit too much going on for that, maybe. So maybe you want to address that as well. Anyway, next up is KZV with track 1.mp3. Working on this one. We'll work on the second break and the ending, but would love some feedback on the production and mix. Okay. This kind of starts like this. I don't know if I like the panning on the drums there. Feels like you muted your bass line on accident. I know that there's that high tom there, but that shouldn't be your bass line, in my opinion. You should probably remove the lowest harmonic of that and actually put the bass line in this track. Kind of like that. This part where the actual bass line is emptier than the part that was the intro. Bit strange. Atmosphere is becoming a little bit too loud. I like the idea, I like that kind of slowly coming in. But it's a little bit too loud and it's also taking up a lot of the lower mid-range. I would filter it out a little bit over here. Gets a little bit boring with that atmosphere just kind of continuing out throughout the whole track here. There's not a lot of progression in the track. And as I said, the atmosphere is a little bit loud, so it's the thing that you're concentrating on here now. As far as main element goes, I think it's a little bit weak. And I think that the one-shots are also getting repetitive at this point. Psytrance is a careful balance between this kind of repetition and just switching it up in every section, making it new, making it interesting. If you listen to your favorite tracks, they're always trying to do something new at every new section to keep things just interesting and new from what you've heard before. But there's a lot of repetition in there that still keeps things like stable. Stuff is being made very, very stereo here. Way too stereo. That snare roll isn't synced with the rest of the track. And so are some of the loops in here as well. Sounds like you have some triplets loops in here. Things just suddenly change without any fill or indication that it's happening. It's also usually not the way to do it. I don't think I like this style of outro either, or what you had in the intro where it's just the kick playing without any bass line. Especially with those randomly panned drums that just pan to the left for no reason. If they were in the center, they would use or be more like part of the groove. Now it feels like a little bit of a strange background element that just made it through. I like the idea. I think it needs a lot of work for it to be at the point where I would listen to it again, to be honest. Like, it's not doing enough for me. Like, it's not changing enough. It's not progressing enough throughout the track. Anyway, Kihone, Work in Progress by Kali C. Sick? I don't know. By this dude. I do want to credit all of the people, but sometimes I have issues with pronunciation, so I'm sorry for that. Anyway, this is Work in Progress. feedback that I gave you will help you improve it a little bit more. Next up is Z-Tech with Earthlings. Now this is 170 BPM track. I'm starting to get a little bit tired, but hopefully this will wake me up. Very strange stereo field going on here. I'm also not a big fan of the kick and bass, it's very messy. Yeah, very strange. Look at this, the kick is only playing in one side with the sub. I think only in the left side for me with the sub bass. We're gonna get the same issues with the other tracks where the sequences are out of rhythm as well. The bassline doesn't sound really clicky, it doesn't really have any punch to it. It just sounds like open humming. It sounds like the bassline is doing that. I'm also not a fan of the sound design. It sounds very disjointed. None of the sounds really seem to work off each other. They just seem to kind of like exist and one goes down and the other one comes up again. Things are just kind of happening and everything is transgated. So everything sounds very similar. Like the sound design is definitely changing, but because everything is gated, you don't really notice it because it's all just like and just in your face for, I don't know, a minute, 2 minutes. I think I just dropped out there. If you guys want, I can skip it back, but I think we get the idea of what this track is about. This is a 10-minute track, so let's not torture ourselves too much. It does feel very repetitive, that's the reason why I say this. Like, I feel like we've already been here before in terms of the sound design. The kick and bass is not making any progression, like the melody isn't changing either. Still not a fan of the kick and the bass. There was a sound that is not in sync, it's like shifted by 32 notes. You can see that sometimes. If I have another example, I'll pull it up on the spectrum analyzer and stop it. This one as well. I guess this is better, but you can see it kind of changing where it starts, I guess. It starts right before the kick when it starts to play. Here as well, the thing is kind of sitting here. You would shift it so that it's right on top of the kick transient and not before it. Here as well, this you can see it's in the middle of where the other gated stuff is. You would want to line that up all together. This asset line is kind of out of nowhere. Suddenly a new sound design idea. It's also a little bit on the loud side. Suddenly there's this completely mono synth in here. Sounds very strange. These are like the small details that you need to pick up on if you want to elevate your music to the next level as a beginner. Kick and bass doesn't really matter, kick and bass design. Although suddenly the kick or the bass seems to have a transient now. Maybe that's like a new drum loop that is on top of there. Well, awesome night, you're welcome. Glad I could have your stuff on my stream. This is all of a sudden a big change up. I like the bassline with the transient a little bit more, I do have to say. I think one of the main things that you would describe this as is like the track lacking a little bit of purpose. Like the sounds are just kind of coming in and coming out, but there's no real story being told. And that's just something that you, through experience in arranging a track, catch up on more and more on how to actually do that. It's all a bit loud. Did I leave it louder? It's not louder than normal. It shouldn't be, at least. Why would that be so loud? That makes no difference, right? I don't see why it would be louder. Or do you mean like the synths and stuff like that? Because I do agree a little bit with that. But the track as a whole is not particularly loud. It's not even mastered. Okay. Next up we have Phenomenal by Rebirth. I think I heard this track before on the last feedback stream. Let's hear what changes and upgrades you've made. I do remember you having the very much like similar problems. I like this synth here, but I would hope for a little bit more change. This is the kind of synth that you would have in the pre-drop. And then build up to with some pads and stuff like that. Or maybe like this. It sounds like the kick and bass should come right about here, right? Because it empties out, leaves us a lot of space for the kick and bass to come in. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of another downlifter here and more stuff coming in before the kick and bass. And the kick sounds very rough. I don't know what the transient is, but it's very knocky. I do like your bass line though, that sounds very nice. Just get yourself a better kick. That vocal is not understandable because you have this massive effect in there. You don't need that effect. It felt completely out of place. At this point I'm getting tired of the acid line. I think it should have ended in the last section. Here we have a new idea. It's way too loud. This acid line, it shouldn't come back here. We've heard it for such a long time now, we're tired of the melody. Way too loud, this instrument. Whatever that was, just tears your ears out. I don't understand that vocal either. There's not enough space for it and there was some weird... Is it in reverse? I do like this part, but the melody could be pushed out a little bit more in front of that other synth. I like this. The effect is sitting in a bit of a random place. Here there's too many things happening. I don't like your reverse vocals, to be honest. I know that they sometimes say a lot of negative things, like this is just like a mess to me, but I think it's better to just point that out straight. And as I said, I don't like to talk too much, don't say too many positive things because I want you guys to hear the track as much as possible. Just way too many things happening here. Very loud as well, very over-compressed as well. You can hear how this is like beginner sequencing, beginner arranging. Stuff just kind of stops, starts. That one sound comes in and it's way too loud for everything. You can hear it pushing the rest away. Do you hear how the kick and bass gets quieter because that one sound is so extremely loud there? To be honest, I didn't like that. I'm gonna be that honest here. I think you need a lot more work on your tracks. Just a lot more work in the details and stuff like that. Next up, we do have more tech. That's just the whole track name. I need to download this one, I think. I need to download it, but it is a short download. Just a few seconds. Less is more. It's indeed less is more. That's one of the things, but also just the way when sequences start and stop playing, and just kind of the quality of the sound design as well. But that's something that you'll just improve over naturally over time. It just feels very amateurish the way that the last track was put together. Just 20 seconds left for the download here. Let me set the volume right and start from the beginning. So this is by Moortech. Feels a little bit slow. It's 136 BPM. Maybe that's a little bit too slow for my taste. I personally like 143, a little bit more. It's kind of like my standard BPM now. But I like the kick and bass relationship, and I like the groove on top of it. I like your melodic parts here. Sounds very good. That vocal that was speaking there could be a little bit louder. Nice little details happening in the hats now. Melody feels a little bit strange, but I really like the way that it progresses and opens up and fits in the track. This is really well done. I really like this. Ooh.
Extraordinary piece of music.
Yeah, so a vocal like that, it should, when it says something, it should just kind of grab your attention. And currently in the mix, it doesn't really have enough volume to do that. But it's just like a little bit, right? Just like 3 dB more, and then it should be okay. Nice little relaxed segment here. That vocal is coming out. Here as well, the synth sits on top of the vocal. You can have that 2 bars later, that squelch. And then the vocal just completely comes out. This is amazing.
One of the beautiful things is that in mindfulness,
Here the vocal needs, again, a little bit more space, a little bit more volume. I think the final thing I'll say in terms of the mix is that the bass line could be a little bit louder, like 2 dB. Baseline change here. I like this. Nice groovy area. This is Lalo, also known as Mortec. Right here in the server, this one. Okay, that's where it ended. It just loops because it's playing inside of a VLC player. But it sounds very good. I like it. I like it a lot. Next up we have Call Me Amir, and then after that I'll go back into the 2 tracks that we just recently skipped over because they double submitted. And then that might be the stream for today actually. Next up is Guitar Thing by Call Me Amir. Just a little something I made, not finished yet, hoping to get this to 6 minutes. Let's see. Your guitar is sounding awfully lot like a piano. Oh no, there it is. Very loud. Very gritty, very distorted here in this area. I would lower that frequency. Another very progressive thing, I feel. Doesn't play a lot with the high frequencies up until this point. Happy New Year, Projector. Keep doing what you do, mate. Thank you. I like your kick and bass. I like its tone. I like the fact that it's almost clean. You can clean it a little bit more. Remove those last parts there. The main thing that you can do is make it stereo, your main bass line. Having it completely mono sounds a little bit off. For such a progressive tune, it doesn't sound aggressive enough to me. Like, these vocals are very softy. Seeing as you have some dubstep elements and some high-tech synths on top of it, I didn't expect this kind of soft stuff happening on top of it as well. A few too many things going on here, I would say. Like, there was a vocal path that was not really happy with its place, I think. By the way, Deepicus, welcome to the stream. I don't know if I said that before, but if I haven't, welcome. I like this vocal. Sounds very cool there. I like that last part. We have 2 more tracks. Let's start with the second track from Acid Monkey, who is still here. This is Beautiful Discoveries.
Today, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condense to a slow vibration.
Nice vocal mix here, giving it enough space.
That we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. Life is only a dream.
Sounded very dark turn on that kick and bass there. Could use a little bit more steer with the kick and bass, but I like the cleanliness of it. That's very well done. I don't mind Game Forest. Welcome to the stream. Nice clean sound design, just like that last track there. I do feel like this track is a little bit muffled. Could have a little bit more high frequencies, high spice there. Even now with the hats coming in, it doesn't really have that bite yet. But it's like, again, it's just these 1-2 dB details. I think I've showed this off before, but the plugin that I like to use for this, from my EQ section, is called Lufticus. This one here. And just boost 40k like this. You guys won't be able to hear this right now because this is not actually the signal chain to what you guys hear. But you just set this somewhere here, around this area. This is a free plugin, by the way. And then it should give you that bite that you're after. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. But it's always nice to have that on the drums. Just kind of gets you that high frequency sizzle.
Life is only a dream.
I think there's a little bit too much space between the vocals there. Because you forget what he was talking about. I was concentrating for it. I know that there was coming something more. But in the live set you won't have that. Because the first time it played it was in the intro and you won't hear that in the live set.
There is no such thing as death. We are the imagination of our.
There the synths are getting in the way of the vocals. So that's an example where I would say there's too much stuff happening for the vocal to be. So I would remove the synths so that you have space for the vocal. What's the name of the plugin you just mentioned and showed? This is Lufticus. LKJB underscore Lufticus. And then I had to bridge it to 64 bits. I think. Or this might be the 64-bit version. Either way, Lufticus right here as well. Nice little free EQ plugin. You're welcome. Glad I could help. Little bit empty there. We're also getting towards the end of the track, so this is still work in progress, I think. But I like the slow part in here as you have it now. long atmosphere sounds out of key.
How about a positive LSD story? That would be newsworthy, don't you think?
Nice little glitchy mangling stuff going on here. That could even be a lead in and of itself. You just build up to a pre-drop here without even having the asset in here, maybe. This also works. I would assume this is more like a second section of a drop. Because the first section I like to have it a little bit more relaxed usually. Right after the breakdown, not full energy all the time. Sometimes I do. But most of the time I don't. But a good start. I like it. I like where this is going. So the last track that I'll listen to, unless there are any other submissions, not yet. The last track I'll listen to is Universal Mystery by Virtual Instinct. Let's hope that everything is on rhythm in this one. Sound design is already very cool. I do like the FM stuff that you're doing here. Again, very boxy, very low and heavy kick and bass. I don't like that. Kick is way too boxy here. Sub is way too strong. Don't leave yourself enough space for the middle harmonics. You should probably also have a little dip at around 500 hertz. Both on the kick as well as on the bass. But that sub is just really too strong. Way too strong. Very strange drums. The snare has almost no impact at all. And there seems to be a delay on the snare. I don't know where that's coming from. Something I always say to almost everybody is, when it comes to your kick and your bass, you can probably low pass your kick at 10 kilohertz and your bass line at around like 8-7 kilohertz. That will give you so much extra space in the higher frequencies when mixing. Just those little peaks that you see here trimmed off will give you enough space, and also having the bass line peak a little bit lower in the frequency spectrum than the kick makes the kick stand out a bit more, which is what we dance to, so we like that. Very unique on the sound design though. I really like the sound design that you're going on here. Again, it's not really in rhythm. There's issues you can see, stuff kind of starting and stopping, not on the rhythm where the bass line is supposed to play. That's, I think, a beginner mistake, because at the end of the day we're trying to emphasize the beat that we're already dancing to with all of the top interesting sound design stuff that we're doing. Right? It's the kick and bass that you're dancing to, and they've then all of the ear candy on top of it, which your sound designing doesn't fit with that. It feels off. So that's definitely something you need to take care of. Like that's almost sounding like triplets to me, which is a fundamentally different rhythm than the rolling bass line is playing right now. Everything still sounds very boxy, very saturated, especially the kick and bass, because I guess that's hitting the saturation the hardest, whatever saturation you have going on. Maybe it's just on the kick and bass. Here it sounds fairly clean and nice. You can just hear the kick and bass being a sausage, right? Like, because of that strong low. I agree, dude. The sound design is very, very good. It just needs more attention on the mixing and the spectrum here and the kick and bass design. I guess spectrum is part of mixing. And I guess the final thing is the rhythm thing. It does say master in the track name. Universal Mystery 151 BPM master. And it is published, so I guess it is a final. Yeah. Maybe Virtual Instinct is still in the chat and he will answer. Cool little effect there, I like that. I feel like stuff like this, too much sub and now the synth being completely mono, you can eliminate all of that stuff if you work more with reference tracks. While you're producing and while you're mixing especially. Because stuff like that will just blatantly stand out to you on basically any system. And I can attest to that because I am working on a very crappy system. What's the ID? So this is, I think I already answered, but this is Virtual Instinct's Universal Mystery 151 BPM Master. And the link is right here. It is a public link, so I think it is published. You can check out his SoundCloud, you can follow him here. That's all nice and dandy. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream here. For all of the new people that joined today during the feedback stream, welcome to the community. If you haven't done so, you can already check out my music over here and add it to my playlist, to your playlist. That always helps me out very much indeed. So I like that. And then if you still want to make use of the holiday sale that I'm running up until the 10th of January, make sure to do so on my Gumroad page with code HOLIDAYSALE23. That will get you 30% off of all of my products, including my Masterclass 2.0, as well as my many preset packs, sample packs, and other packs for stuff like Serum, Vital, and Faceplant. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream for me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and that the feedback was helpful. And yeah, that's going to be it. I have plans for another stream next week somewhere, because I need to do episode 6 of Track from Scratch High Tech. I need to record that, and I've decided that I like the stream format because it's more interactive and I get more stuff done during one stream than I did during a recording session, so it speeds up the videos as well a little bit. Even though the videos tend to become a little bit longer, I might need to mess a little bit more with the format. Adapt my stream a little bit more for specifically turning it into a YouTube video. But that's something that I need to experiment with. Anyway, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream and again that the feedback was helpful. And thank you for your